Hi, everyone. Welcome to eSports and Sports Betting as part of the Canadian Gaming Summit. My name is Dustin Gowker. I'm the Vice President of North America for Catena Media, which operates as an affiliate and a gambling news service across North America and the rest of the world. PlayCanada.com and LegalSportsReport.com are two of the brands that I represent. Pleased to be joined by Thomas Rossander, a relatively newly minted CEO of Luckbox, which focuses on the esports betting industry. Welcome, Thomas, and thanks for taking the time to do this with us. We're just going to have a little bit of a fireside chat here and see what we get into.
Thanks, Dustin. Let's go.
Very good. Very good. I don't know how much our audience know. Like, this is a gaming summit, sports betting coming to Canada, most likely. I don't know how much our audience knows a whole lot about either esports or esports betting. So why don't you just start off? Tell us a little about Luckbox. Tell us about the esports betting market writ large, and that's a good place to start to give people some context of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah. So Luckbox is actually the esports betting site that is operated by Real Luck Group, where I'm the CEO. And Luckbox is a esports betting site. We're live in over 80 countries and multiple languages. We're listed in Toronto under what I think is the best ticker ever for a gaming company. Is LUCK, so Luck. And if we talk about the esports and esports betting industry in general, so esports is, I don't think anybody can miss it. It's the biggest transition in entertainment, I think, ever. And it's a billion-dollar industry, absolutely. And if we look at esports betting, it's, I think, a natural effect when something so massive grows as the esports industry have. Gambling has been a monetization tool for very, very long time, and now it's coming into esports as well. And for those that don't know about esports, what it is and so on, it's basically competitive organized gaming where teams or players play video games and compete each other in big tournaments with big prize pools, etc. And as I said, it's a billion-dollar industry, and it's massive.
And just to inform audience again, if they aren't super familiar with esports betting or esports, I mean, I think everybody knows esports, quote unquote, right? But what are the biggest sports to bet on? You know, Dota 2, League of Legends, Counter-Strike are some of the big ones. If that's foreign to you, you can Google them. They're all over the place. But these are big events around the world. But what else is there that you guys take a lot of handle on?
On the games, you mean, or the matches, the sports? Yeah. So I mean, the ones you mentioned are what we call the big three, and the thing is that these ones have been around for a long time, and there is a lot of new games who wants to get in on this, and the reason for this is, of course, that this is driven by the video game industry in general, and for the video game publishers or studios. Esports is a huge opportunity because it not only creates a lot of attention to the game, it also increases the lifespan of the game. So if it goes big in esports, you're going to have a title that is there for very, very long time. And this is exactly what has happened with the big three, if we say so. But there are a lot of other games that are coming up. There's one game called Valorant, which is the same studio who built League of Legends, which is probably the biggest game in the world. And they decided to make another game that is more of a first-person shooter battle arena game. And they felt that there was a market space for that. And Riot, which is the company who produces these games, they have created a big part of this esport, and that's where it's coming from. And they created this game Valorant, and it's just a couple of weeks ago, it was a huge tournament about with this game, and we actually saw that in our numbers. For the first time in a very long time, we had Valorant coming in as the second largest game that week. And then there's a lot of other games that might be more familiar for the ones who are not who don't know about these games. So there are FIFA, which is soccer, and there's NBA and so on, and then there's the classic games that is Call of Duty and so on. So there is a big number of games out there that there is betting going on with.
Let's bring this to Canada, since this session is about Canada and the opportunity as well. What do you see as the opportunity? As everyone can probably tell, I'm an American. Neither of us are from Canada, but in the United States, esports betting, I'd say, has been slow. It's been, we're rolling it out on a state-by-state basis. It's going to be similar in Canada, province-by-province basis. What do you see as the opportunity for esports betting? What have we done wrong in the United States? How might it be different in Canada? Will it be different in Canada for companies like Luckbox and for operators in terms of offering an esports betting market?
Yeah, so there are lots of numbers out there and guesses of how much this is going to be worth. But sports and esports betting is estimated to, I think it was PVC who said between 1.5 and 2 and something billion Canadian dollars in a couple years. I think what's missing here for esports betting to really start generating money. Of course, here we have a lot of traditional sports betting sites who are comparing the numbers directly with what they're used to from sports betting, and it's a little bit unfair since it's fairly new. But I think the thing that's really gonna make a difference here is that this demographic that are playing, they're part of the esports scene and are our main demographic for Luckbox. It's the Gen Zs and the millennials. And these demographic, they have a different approach to what kind of content they look at and what kind of sports they look at clearly. And the type of esports bettor is different from a traditional sports bettor, because instead of being used to go to the Sunday game with a paper bet slip in their pocket, they watch Twitch and basically consume a lot of content online about the game or the team or the esport that they are interested in. So what's needed here is that we as operators in the esports betting scene, we have to provide a betting experience that tailors for this demographic. And this is something that I think it is happening, and a lot of companies are realizing this. It still remains to see who is gonna nail it in the best way.
Yeah, and not just to talk you up or other esports only operators, but I'm fully a believer that there has to be a differentiated product for esports. You can't just, in Europe, some success, right, tacking on traditional sports books, tacking on esports. There's been very little of that, very little appetite for for the main operators in the United States to really offer too much other than here in North America. So it is, to me, a very different user that you don't want to have an esports tab on a larger sports book. You want to be, I want esports, I want to bet on esports, I want to engage with that. It's its own universe of games and sports that sometimes there's crossover with regular sports and oftentimes not, though. These are fans of just the esports. So that differentiated product, I think, is, we're waiting for it here in the States and in North America, and I assume you'd like to bring it to some of the provinces in Canada.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about it, it's if you look at the traditional online sports book, it's basically a list, Excel sheet more or less with matches listed on it, and that has worked very well so far for these companies and in the majority of the markets. But when it comes to the esport audience, they are used to playing video games. And playing a video game is a completely different engaging experience than looking at a list of odds. And that is what they expect when they come to these sites. And they're used to getting that endorphin kick very, very repeatedly and very fast, and they don't have the patience to wait. So I think the esports betting experience for this demographic, it has to be more video game like. And if you think about it, it totally makes sense, right?
Yeah, I mean, and that goes into in-game betting too, which is I think obviously in the rest of Europe for traditional sports, in-play betting way more important than pre-match betting. North America, United States, we're still catching up to that. In-game betting, the product is getting better, really. But it's for companies like yours and for the esports themselves, it's engagement while people are watching, right? It's just like traditional sports, second screen experience. You can watch the game here on the screen, so on your phone or whatever else. You could be betting on it, and that's the product that I think is the most intriguing in terms of and the crossover from traditional sports is that it's engagement. It's a second screen engagement for fans and to be engaging with the product longer and more deeply. And that's I assume you're a believer in that as well. And I think it's only limited by how good the data is in some ways, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that when I say the millennials and the Gen Zs, so that's the 18 to 35-year-olds I'm talking about. And the fact is that they watch more video gaming than they actually play it themselves. And that is a really good prerequisite for a good esports betting business. And especially if you look into the in-play betting, I think that's where the innovation is going to come during the next year, as fast as that actually. And if we compare it to, I think we lost. No, Dustin's back.
I'm back.
If we compare traditional sports with esports, traditional sports, if we're talking about the data, it's much more complex to do inline or inline betting with that, because it's not a digital product from the beginning. But if you look at the esports, the video games, I mean, it's just pixels from the beginning. So it is definitely possible to make a completely different engaging experience that is so much faster when it comes to in-play bets. And I know that is happening. A lot of companies are looking into this, and I'm absolutely sure that's where we're going to see innovation. And I think that when that comes, it will probably also spill over on the traditional sports betting.
How much handle is in-game versus pre-match?
Sorry, repeat that. I didn't hear it.
How much of your betting handle is in-game versus pre-match?
Depends on the game, but we are some games are 50-50 and some are more on the in play.
To themselves and the people behind these games, how interested are the esports themselves in the betting aspect? I mean, it's again, using my reference point in North America and traditional sports, they're very interested in this. Are the esports actual developers and companies, are they how engaged are they with the esports betting product?
There are lots of games being built right now where the objective really is for it to become an esports game. And as I said in the beginning, and the reason for that is because it is free marketing, so to speak. If it takes off, it prolongs the lifetime of the game, and you get that free marketing about it. And every big video game publisher are planning some kind of esports game for sure. So it's being built in from the beginning these days.
Right. Without giving away too much of your strategy, maybe one of the questions we had was what should operators be looking to use to target esports bettors and sports bettors? We talked a little bit about how they're different, but how do you get them in the door for esports betting? If they're all obviously we talked about this huge market for esports fans. How hard is that conversion to get them interested in betting or even know that there is a betting product that they can interact with?
It's a little bit different than it is if you're running a traditional sports book or online casino. But I still have to say that a big, like the backbone of our acquisition marketing still is the affiliate business. And for the ones who doesn't know about what that is, it's basically different traffic sources where we buy traffic from. And they, no matter how big marketing department we have and how good we are at acquiring players, there's always more sites out there who can find a special niche or a special technology to acquire players and then send them on to us for a price, of course. And then I think even in esports, the partnerships with big affiliate companies like yours, Dustin, are gonna be crucial. I think in the esports scene, or for what we are noticing, is that the transition from a renting banner space business model to a more co-acquisition business model or rev share business model hasn't really happened yet. And it's we saw this happening in traditional sportsbook and especially in online casinos. It was the same thing. So I think there's a huge opportunity right now around the world with lots of communities, and there's so much content around esports. And there's this communities that they're sitting on a gold mine, basically, and they don't know it yet in terms of content and being able, they could send players to us and get really well paid for it.
Yeah, I mean, we offer lots of esports sites, and I'm sure if Canada, elsewhere, if it becomes a thing, we'll be working with you and others to be sending that. But it is an education point, just like again, my frame of reference is often the United States. There's a lot of education to be done of the consumer here just on traditional sports betting. Esports the lift is even higher. So trying to get people into esports betting, yes, there is this huge universe of fans, but getting them to the esports betting products that are legal and regulated, sometimes a lift. Selfishly, our company is one of those that works on this. And it's a good transition into a question here from Anthony. I don't know if this has been touched upon in other presentations, but how does gambling become incorporated into e-gaming? Is there a revenue split? Is the split between the league, game developer, and gambling company? I assume most game developers run the leagues to maximize their revenue. And I mean, we could obviously talk about this affiliate sportsbook operator relationship, but it's depending. Most of it in North America has been a cost per acquisition. There's revenue share as well. Those are the two different models. The game licensor or the game provider itself usually not involved in this ecosystem, other than unless you or another person or another company is actively working with that.
Yeah, no, I agree. That's true. The video game publishers are usually a little bit on the side, or actually, they're not on the side. They're right in the middle. I mean, they are the ones putting fuel into this whole thing, and that's why it's so big. It's because it's in their interest to do it, and they are, the video game industry is big. It's 1/3 of the population play video games, and it's like 2.7 billion people. The potential market here. So they are in the middle, but they are earning their money through their traditional business model. Many of these games, or the majority of them, are free-to-play games. So anybody can start playing them without spending anything. And then instead you pay for items inside the game, or you pay for yes, it can be weapons, or it can be to dress up your character in a special way, or so on. So that's where their revenue usually come from. There are some partnerships happening, and of course, in the case of League of Legends tournaments, especially when there are live events, it happens that there's partnerships with some betting providers as well.
Which I guess leads a little into the idea of there's been a lot of integrity issues, I guess, in esports. I mean, not a lot. I mean, there's thousands upon thousands of matches being played. There's a small amount of them that get some amount of notoriety for there have been some issues. What do you think is happening on that front in terms of integrity and the legitimacy of the games? And I mean, you're probably more at risk than anyone when matches are fixed or people are trying to alter outcomes. What's going on in that front? Because if you follow esports, you see some of these headlines once in a while. But what is it like for you from an operator standpoint, looking at these integrity issues?
Yeah, I mean, whether it's traditional sportsbook or esports, this is the worst thing that can happen, of course. I think esports has a huge advantage in compared to traditional sports, because in esports everything is digital again, and it's fairly easy to build intelligence or models that very quickly identifies anything going on. In real life sports, if we call it that, it can be much trickier to really see if something going on. Here it's in the pixel if something is strange, and yeah, I think that's one of the advantages. But of course, it happens, and then it's very important that when it gets discovered, which it does, then it's very important that the tournament organizers really show that this is not okay. And we had a case not too long ago in China. So in China, League of Legends have two big leagues. One is the League of Legends Pro League, and one is the Serie B, if we call it that, which is the League of Legends Development League. And there was a case discovered in the Development League. And I think that the authorities there, or the tournament organizers, they really showed that this is bad, and made a statement of that. And I think it's gonna be necessary.
Yeah, I think it's important to know when we talk about integrity issues, it's like you guys are on the hook as much as anyone. It's not, the leagues are on the hook, but you guys all you want to do is offer fair betting and have fair markets, and it's as much of the onus is on you, and the risk is on you when these things happen. So it's in your best interest for that to happen. We just have a couple more minutes left. If anybody has a question, happy to take it. Tell me try to wrap it up with this, I guess. Otherwise, unless we get another question. What's an esport that I don't know about, or a casual fan that doesn't know about, that might be hot for either betting or just an esports world in the near future?
That's a difficult question. There's so many, but I mean, depending on who you are, and I think you should try Valorant if you haven't done that. And if you're more of a traditional sports person, why not try to play some NBA or FIFA? And something that I'm looking forward that is related to Canada is, of course, hockey. So we don't offer that yet, and I don't think it's. I really want to see that. So that's something that I'm waiting for. Patiently.
Yeah, that would be exciting to see actually to see hockey come around and do that. And again, for the Canadian audience, I know hockey betting is kind of number 4 here in the U.S. It will be a big part of whatever happens in Canada, and the eSport function of it as well. Here NBA is, they have a pro league. They pay these guys. There's betting on the matches, all of that. Do have one quick question here for traditional sports betting wagering. A lot of risk management comes from odds line setting. Who and how are the odds lines set in esports betting? Seems like this is the total key to this happening in a big way. I don't know if you can answer that in like half a minute, but give it a go. How are lines set for esports?
I'm not sure I understand the question. Let me see if I can read it here.
Yeah, if you like, how do you set the odds basically on matches?
It works. It works in the same way as it does in traditional sports. So we have statistics on a team and the results on different maps in the games and so on. And the team they're competing with, we have the same. And basically, it's models, computer models, calculating it for us and giving us a margin. But of course, there's also a real person supervising that and sometimes adjust it. And then when it's live betting or in-game betting, then that is it's also automatic to the most extent by our software. But it's sometimes we have to go in manually and adjust something, and sometimes we do it to just make sure we provide a better odds.
It was a great answer in a short amount of time. I think that'll wrap it up for Thomas. Thanks for tuning in on esports and sports betting. You can find me on the Twitter on Twitter, Dustin Gauker. Happy to ask questions or get them to Thomas, or we can answer them via email through the summit. Thanks for your time, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the summit.